I'm the divine dragon. I could finally... I mean, I can't say I can finally talk about Engage. I keep talking about it in the card docs. Like, yeah, I've been playing it. Game's fun as fuck. Blah, 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 blah. But now that I'm done, I can talk about this game. So before I go into presentation, gameplay, narrative, there are some kind of... There's important groundwork I do need to lay out for this one. It's about how I played the game. The vast majority of the game I played on Maddening. My philosophy was, I will play this game on Maddening as long as I feel like I can, as long as I feel like I am having fun. If there comes a point where I realize, like, I can't do this shit anymore, like, I'm not having fun anymore, then I will put it down to hard, and I will just keep going from there. I specifically wanted to play Chapter 17 on Maddening, because watching Clay play through it, I was like, oh, this looks like the best map in the game. This is really cool. This looks really fun. This is the one that I really want to have the challenge with. I gotta make it that far, and then anything else after that, who gives a shit? Like, I still want to play it. I don't need to play it on Maddening. I just at least want to be able to play it on hard. But this one in particular, I gotta. So I played from the start of the game through Chapter 22 on Maddening. 23, which is the one in the volcano, took me literally 3 hours on Maddening, and I beat it. And then on the last turn, I lost like 3 people. Like, I doesn't sit right with me, which means I have to do this again. This was 3 hours of my life. I don't want to do this. I'm just going to put it down to hard to finish the game. And then so that means 23, 24, 25, and 26. All played it on hard. When it comes to the paralogs, I did not have the DLC, so I did not do any of the DLC paralogs. I completed all of them but Allier's I did on Maddening. I tried Allier's on Maddening, I'm like, there's literally 50 enemies. I am completely surrounded. It takes 2 to 3 of my units to kill one guy. And my units are lucky if they can survive an encounter with one guy. This ain't happening. Like, it was like... 23 is like, I genuinely think I can beat this on Maddening. I just, at this point, don't want to do it. Allier's Paralog, I'm like, I don't know how I would have done it. I genuinely 1000% don't. I'm like, I would just finish it on hard. Let's go. Other things I used or didn't use. I said I didn't get the DLC. I didn't do any skirmish maps. I just did the paralogs and the main chapters. I know the well mechanic was added. I didn't do anything with that. I was like, this is not in the base game. Especially, like, it's not in the base game. Like, Clay didn't have it in his playthrough. I don't want to use it in mine. Like, that feels a little weird, but it was just not something I fucked with. Anything else I felt like I needed? So that's a couple other things. My final official playtime was 71 hours and 55 minutes. That does not include several failed attempts on maps. Like, doing Chapter 23 for 3 hours. Or, excuse me, yeah, it was 23 for 3 hours. I had to, like, triple check my math. And then Chapter 21, I had a 2-hour attempt that ended in failure. I think the first time I did Lynn's Paralog was like a couple hours. That did not work. Chapter 16, the one with the beach and the waves, like the tide coming in, I know I did twice before I succeeded. So that's probably another 2 hours or hour and a half each time. Chapter 15, which is the Fog of War map with the Twin Brigands. I know I had to do that. I know I failed it once. And numerous attempts at Chapter 11 that ended in failure. So while it's officially... Oh yeah, and then like my time doing my first attempt on Byleth's map, Corrin's map, Allier's map. I think I tried twice before I changed the difficulty. I would say, in honesty, while my official time is 71:55, it's probably closer to about 85 hours. So I put a lot of fucking time into this game. And let's just do a real quick in memoriam. Because this was not a clean game. I lost some fucking people. We lost Alfred in Chapter 5. Was it 5? Was it 6? It's the Haya Makaya map, which is what I refer to when you get Yunaka and Makaya, because it's a Fog of War map. And I was like, I don't want to redo this map. Someone's gonna have to die unless the boss misses. Alfred, I'm gonna be honest, it was either Alfred or Jean was gonna have to die. It's like, Alfred, you're just not as useful as Jean. If you die, you die. Okay, he's dead. Chapter 11. I lost a lot of people. This is the majority of my deaths. Citrine, Celine, Lapis, Diamant, and Chloe. I lost literally half my army in that map. It was fucking rough. The only other person that I lost was Sapphire in Chapter 19, which that one, even that, like, that's another map I forgot that I actually had to do a couple attempts on. I couldn't quite get the first turn right, like, mostly because Mavier kept warping people, and I was like, okay, whoever he warps is just gonna kill somebody. You're an NPC right now. You are not actually in my army. You are not one of my units. Do I want you to die? No, but if someone has to die, I'd rather it be someone I don't know and have no attachment to. So, those are all the people who died. And then in my attempt of 23, the 4 people I lost in that one were Mavier, Kagetsu, Vale, and Jean. And I was like, yeah, I can't do that. So those deaths don't count. And I do have a few save files, specifically on my maddening playthrough, where I've done all the paralogs except Alir, and I've done everything up to chapter 22. So if I really want to, I wouldn't mind at some point kind of trying those other maps, and when the DLC comes out, the Xenologue, I do want to try that on my maddening playthrough. That means I have to buy the DLC, which means we have to do all those other paralogs. Like, there's going to be a lot of extra shit to do. And I do want to, but not at the moment. But those were kind of the general things I needed to say, especially before I get into gameplay. But I guess it kind of gives you an idea of this is how I tried to play the game. I didn't like people dying. I frequently reset when it happened, but Chapter 11, given that you don't have a time crystal for it, and I was like, I just need to get through this fucking map. So, with all that being said, let's go into the presentation. The graphics of this game look so much fucking better than Three Houses, man! Like, I like Three Houses a lot. It's possibly my favorite Fire Emblem, which, I guess for reference, I've played this, Three Houses, Awakening, and Echoes. And then earlier in the year, I played some in Path of Radiance. I didn't super get into it. Maybe later in the year, I'll pick it back up if I can work through the majority of my list. Maybe next year, I'll try to get back on it. I don't know. But I was remembering, there's these videos, like these AI Trump Biden videos, and like them playing Fire Emblem. They call each other Awakening babies. I'm like, that's basically what I am, because I've really only played new Fire Emblem, so I guess that's what, I'm an Awakening baby. But it's my only real frame of reference. With Three Houses being my most recent frame of reference, I'm like, wow, this game just looks so much better. Three Houses looks rough. Like, a lot of the times the models just look off. The recycled animations, which you still get here. Like, I've noticed quite a few times, what's the one, like, there's this animation that quite a few of the characters in the game use. Like, Alir does this a lot that I've noticed quite a few other characters do. I know Yunaka kind of, like, does this with her hands. I've seen a few people do that, but it was, like, it's noticeable here. It was so noticeable in Three Houses. Like, everyone had, like, 3 expressions. My favorite is when they just throw their hands up. Like, it's not as... Yunaka kind of does something similar. Like, I've noticed it with her the most in this game, but it was so notable in Three Houses. Like, they just, like, throw up their hands and shake their head. I kind of had like a drinking it. It wasn't actually drinking, but it was like, yeah, take a shot whenever someone does that. Oh yeah, they did the thing, and it's not as noticeable in this game. I like that quite a bit. It felt more polished. I guess that's really what it is, and according to the leaks, because I remember this game leaked like sometime last year, and the leaker had said, they're like, yeah, this game is done. Like, they have not announced this game. It's been finished. It's been finished for a while. I don't know why they're just sitting on it and not saying anything, but yeah, like, here's how the game is gonna work, and they explain the engage mechanic, like, here's what the main character looks like, and that I remember when people saw that shit, like, this is fake. This is so fake. There's no way this Pepsi-ass, toothpaste-looking-ass character is real, and yeah, I guess let's go ahead and get right into the character designs. I don't mind them, but I do have some things that are weird to me. Like how if you have someone as a wolf knight, they just have a little wolf tail. I can see why someone would be like, oh, that's really cute and endearing. Like, I don't know why, I just think it looks fucking weird. When someone is a sage, they're just completely shirtless. Like, I don't, like, on Pandreo, because I had 2 sage characters in my run. It's like, I had Pandreo, it's like, it looks weird. I don't really like it. I like his, like, man of the cloth look. But I guess it's okay. And then Jean, I'm like, this is like a 12-year-old kid who's just going around shirtless. Like, I don't like how this looks. I don't know about this one, Chief. And then some of the actual character designs. Hortensia really does just look like a VTuber. Like, it's her in particular is the one where I'm like, what the fuck is this? But I also have to shout out her dress. I don't know what it is, but I kind of unironically love Hortensia's dress. I love Ivy's too. I think there was another character I wrote down. I was like, I really like their... Pennette, who I will just refer to as Penny, because that's what I call her throughout the entire playthrough. I love Penny's dress. I think it looks great. Let's see. Oh yeah, another design that just looked weird to me was Sapphire, given how... When I first saw her, I thought she was an old lady. I thought she was... I mean, 60 isn't old, but 60 is kind of when you're starting to get near maybe your Twilight-ish years. Because, like, she looks really wrinkled. And then I found out she's in her mid-30s. She's, like, 35. I'm like, what? Why does she look so old? Like, I don't know how old Lyndon is, but, like, he looks... Like, he's kind of in that, like, 60 range, too. What is he, then, like, 29? It weirdly wouldn't surprise me anymore. Oh, I forgot fucking Zephia. I wrote her down, too. I don't know what the fuck is up with Zephia's design. Like, it reminds me of Kuja. Just Kuja's weird man thong, and Zephia just looks like she's wearing her lingerie all the time. Like, she just got a bra and a thong. I don't really like it. I just think it looks silly. I'm not gonna lie. I kind of couldn't take her design seriously at all. But there are some I like. Like I said, I do like some of the dresses. I love Samran's design. Like, his base design, I think it looks kind of cool. The fucking Dragon Cobra looks so sick. The first time I saw that shit, I was like, actually was watching Clay do the final chapter, because there were some of the chapters of his that I missed. I was like, that's what he looks like? Holy fuck. That looks incredible. Now I kind of wish this was somehow like a Kingdom Hearts thing, so I could fight that. Like, I would love to fight that in a non-turn-based game. Like, I love turn-based combat, don't get me wrong. But, fuck, that thing is so cool. And that's really all I have to say about designs without getting into Alear. Woo, I named her Crest in my playthrough, both as a reference to, like, you know, Fire Emblem. Crest is kind of another word for emblem, and also toothpaste brand. I had fun with that. So sometimes I will probably call her Alear, sometimes I will call her Crest. I will always use a female pronoun because I use the female. Is the design in the hair silly? Yes, but I don't mind it. I think for me, it's just like the right kind of silly and goofy where it's kind of charming. And then having played the game, like, okay, I get why. I kind of get what they're going for here. I dig it. Excuse me, it's not my favorite design, but I like it. I think it's fine. So getting into the things that aren't fine, they're actually really good when it comes to the presentation. The music slaps. I really like the final map theme. The opening, I think, is okay, but, like, I do like the main theme, like, at times when you hear it remixed. I think in Chapter 22, when you end up coming back as a corrupted, which I could have quit pinning that. When you come back as a corrupted, like, there's this orchestrated, or I don't even think it's orchestrated, like an instrumental version of the theme. Like, this sounds really fucking hype. Let's go. The Soulm battle theme I remember really liking. The Emblem paralogue remixes I really liked. In particular, Byleth's, Corrin's, and Celica's. I'm going to use the term Rain and Thunder because that's how I know it from Three Houses. I don't know what they're actually referred to in this game. But it's like your non-combat version of a map theme is the Rain version, and then the combat version is the Thunder version. I normally just prefer the Rain versions. I tend to not like Thunder versions as much. I don't think they're bad or anything. It's like, yeah, I think it's okay. The fucking Thunder version of Celica's paralogue of with Milla's Divine Protection is so good and so hype. Like, that is probably my favorite song of the game. I think it's fantastic, which sucks because I got to barely hear it. Oh, man. Like, we'll talk about Celica's map in a bit. But I think the music is so good. I don't know if I feel like I mentioned the Soulm music. I really fucking like the Soulm music. It's really good. Let me take that pen out real quick. In chapter 22, which is when where Crest dies and then gets resurrected as a corrupted or whatever the fuck. It did bother me that they just used the same model. They didn't change the way her model looked at all. They didn't actually try to give her, like, a weird corrupted glow. So everyone's like, this corrupted is talking and everything. And, like, it's just Crest. They're like, are we sure it's you? Yeah, it's just her. Like, it really did create a disconnect for me. And the game rarely did that. But, I mean, like I said, whenever I saw Zephy, I was like, this design's kind of silly. But, like, that was actively... What you are trying to tell me right now in terms of story does not compute with what my eyes are seeing. This is kind of, this doesn't quite work. And I feel like for me, that's more on the presentation than the actual writing. So I feel like I do have to bring that up. The other part of the presentation that I think is really good is the voice acting. At worst, it's fine, with maybe a line or two that doesn't quite work. But there are a lot of characters who I just really like their deliveries. I have to shout out Crest. Something about the way her voice actress delivers the lines, I actually don't know who most of the voice actors and actresses are, so I'll just be referring to the characters themselves. She sounds so tired so many times throughout the game, like notably after chapter 11 and everything goes to shit. Like, she just sounds like she's exhausted and barely holding it together. And given how exhausting Maddening was to play, I kind of vibed with that. I was like, no, that sounds accurate. I don't really want to get into, like, actually talking about her character, because that's going to be part of the narrative, but it made me really enjoy her character. Because, yeah, she certainly didn't feel like she was this badass invincible hero in terms of gameplay. We'll definitely talk about her as a unit. But, I really liked her delivery. Like, it really humanized her for me. See, I have to compare it to Three Houses, because it was the most recent one that I played. I hated how in Three Houses that Curtis never talked. She was just quiet. And while characters would be like, oh, Professor, you're such a good listener. Oh, Professor, thank you for helping me. And, like, all she did was go. Like, that was it. And I was like, I've played Awakening. Robin had a personality. Like, Robin had voice acting. Where the fuck did this go? And, like, I haven't played Fates, which is the other game that I know that has an avatar. But I'm like, is this going to be the new norm? The avatar character just not talking and not emoting? And like, oh, thank God that is not the case. What is the god here? I guess thank the Divine Dragon, I suppose? Thank the Divine Dragon that's not the case, because I really liked Alir's character, and the voice acting did a lot for that. Then we have Vale. Vale's voice actress fucking kills it. So when she's being normal Vale, just sweet girl who just wants to see her papa and meet her sibling and be a nice, just doggone good person. No, it works. It's very sweet. Maybe a little too sweet, but I don't think it's bad by any means. Like, yeah, like, I think it works. And then when that version of Vale, actually kind of starts to you know, fight back against Sombron and shit in the later chapters. I'm like, I really vibe with this. When she's playing other Veil, like evil version of Veil, she is damn near unrecognizable. I think I actually had to like check, like, was it the same voice actress for both versions? Because that's fantastic. I also have to say, wow, Evil Veil's voice is sexy as hell. I'm like, I look at this character, I look at this design, I'm like, this is not an attractive design by any means. And then I close my eyes and hear the voice, I'm like, that's the sexiest thing I've ever heard. This doesn't make sense, this is weird and I don't like it. But she does such a good job. And then some of the other characters that, to me, I thought, like, really stood out with their deliveries. Pennies, Gold Marys, Fogatos, Pandreos. Just anytime I saw a subtitle and I just saw in caps Aru, I was like, oh, let's fucking go there. I'm sorry. Bahamut's over there. He's not taking a nap, but he's lying down. And as soon as I did, he just got up like, what the fuck is he doing? But that shit hyped me up. Like, again, I don't want to get super into how much I like the characters now, but I fucking love Pandreo. Oh, Yunaka. Yunaka was the other character I really wanted to shout out for having a good voice actress. Especially when you get the moments where she's doing impressions. You're like, these are really, really good. Holy crap. So, overall, with the presentation, like, I like the art style, I like the graphics. I think the voice acting is oh, actually, I do have to shout out Sombron. What I love about I think I described him to Clay as like, this sounds like an auto-tuned Keith David. Like, he's got that weird, almost kind of auto-tune, like, growl and echo thing. But it sounds like someone trying to do, like, a Keith David voice. And Keith David is one of my favorite voices of all time. So it's like, this just does it for me. This is really cool. Like, the voice acting is consistently great. I love the art style. I think the music is awesome. I don't care for all of the designs. I don't super care for the art direction. But it's not like, wow, I hate this. I cannot get into this. It's like, yeah, I mean, I think when I first looked at a lot of the characters, especially like Hortensia is the one that comes to mind, I'm like, what the fuck is this? But then I got used to it. And it went from being like, what the fuck is this, to, you are arguably the most valuable unit in my entire run. So I don't care about your weird cotton candy hair. I don't care about your toothpaste looking dress. I don't care about the weird fucking star thing you got on your face. I just love you for you. And by you, I mean rewarping half the army over to the boss so we can kill them in one turn. Thank you, Hortensia. So, like, to me, it's a 4.5 out of 5 with the presentation. My problems are, in the grand scheme of the whole package, I feel like very minimal in that regard. And even then, I kind of got used to most of it anyway. It's like, I can't give it a perfect score, but I take the minimum amount of points off for it. Which means now I can get into gameplay. Okay, so this is the star of the show. Normally, when I talk about games, like RPGs in particular, to me, it's always the narrative is the star of the show. But I want the game to still be fun so I can enjoy my 60-odd hours, whatever the hell. And that's why normally I talk about narrative last. And I do it so often that I'm like, yeah, even for this, you know, it's presentation, then it's gameplay, then it's narrative. I kind of feel like I should have saved the gameplay for last because it's the star of the show. Because the story's fine. Again, like, I'll get to my, like, actual thoughts on the shit that happens, but I went into the game hearing that story is trash. I was pleasantly surprised because I don't think it's trash. I think there's some really standout moments and ideas. But, yeah, everyone was right. Gameplay is the star of the show. This game is fun as fuck. What I loved about it, like, thinking about it, is like, okay, so why have I been having fun? Even when I'd be doing a map and I'm like, this is like 2 hours. This was 2.5 hours. But I was having so much fun, I didn't care. I'm like, what is it? Because I do like strategy. I do like that I I mean, I like action games too. Like, I love playing Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is very button mashy, but it's also, you kind of still have to know what you're doing. But this is all, like, a mental game. With also, like, dealing with RNG and shit. Like, really? You hit me on a 32? Really? I had a 96% chance to crit, and I didn't? Okay. Okay. Like, there's RNG bullshit. But it really comes down to, like, your strategy dealing with shit as it happens. Which is something I really like. But I loved the feeling of discovery that came with this game. The way I love discovery when I'm playing Pokemon. And it wasn't the sense of discovering new enemies, discovering map gimmicks, discovering my new units. Although that shit does help. But it was just kind of, it was discovering the mechanics. And some of the weird intricacies in the game. Like, for example, one thing I noticed around chapter 14, which is the Solm Palace map, is that if you use Lyn and create clones, now, like, when you are attacking, you get extra chain attacks with the clones, so it's very helpful for offense. It's invaluable on defense because enemies, not always, but I would say a solid 90% of the time, if a clone is available, an enemy will attack the clone. Regular enemies do it, bosses do it too. And I realized, I was like, wait. Like, I didn't think I was in a great position here, but, like, I used the clones, you know, to maybe add a couple warm bodies, you know, for the offense with the chain attacks and shit. Marnie is attacking a clone instead of one of my squishies. Huh. Is that consistent? Oh, this is a consistent thing. Oh. And just learning that and how it completely changed the nature of my strategy going forward. Another thing is Dragon Vein. So Dragon Vein, which is Corrin's thing, is depending on the type of unit you have, like a covert unit, like an armored unit, a backup unit, will create a different kind of terrain. Covert makes fog. The backup units, actually don't know what backup units make. I'll be honest, I don't really know what all the units make because I just put it on Crest. Because as a dragon unit, you have access to everything. It's like, alright, do you need ice to make like a wall? Do you need the vines to kind of heal? Do you need the stones for extra defense and persistence? What do you need? What I needed was fire. What I literally liked calling suppressive fire. Because what Dragon Vein Fire does, it's, as you can imagine, it creates fire tiles. What fire tiles do is two things. Number one, if you start your turn on the fire tile, you take 10 damage, but it can't kill you. So if you're at 9, it'll just take you down to 1. The other thing it does is it heavily fucks with movement. If you're moving through the fire, your movement will get reduced. If you're just in the middle of it, like, your movement is completely fucked. That was, like, indispensable shit in playing Maddening. Because, oh god, like, there were so many times where I would make my own choke points with fire. I remember Ike's map is where I really started to figure this shit out. So on Ike's map, there's, if you played Path of Radiance as well, it's the defense map outside the castle, and it's also where you get Ileana. So there's guys coming up the entrance, there's guys coming on the right, and there's a bunch of guys, not as many, but there's also guys coming on the left. So I had given it a couple attempts, like, trying to just kind of deal with, essentially playing it the way I did that map in Path of Radiance, which is, it's a defense map, which here it's technically not, it's a beat the boss, which is Ike. But it's like, it's a defense map, so I just kind of have to use choke points, support those people, take shit out, but what they change here is that the walls are destroyable. So you have a choke point for a couple turns until the enemies say, no, we're going to make a new entrance, and then you're kind of fucked and easily getting overrun. But what I realized is, with the fire, you heavily mess with their movement. So it's a lot harder for them to attack you. Oh, wait a second. I have a dancer. If I dance Crest, can she make more fire? Like, if I put fire on the right-hand side, can I Dancer and then also put fire in the front side? Or is it like, no, you can only have one at a time. If you use this fire, that one gets dispelled. I don't know, but I'm about to find out. You can make 2 forms of fire. Oh. So I remember Clay and I were kind of discussing the map, like, as I was playing it and figuring this out, that what I really need to do is, because there's... Okay, so, like, I don't need to bother with the guys in the front because Ike is all the way in the back. So I either need to go I need to go up to the right or up to the left. There's less guys on the left, so it's like, what I need to do is convoy up there, keep Crest in the back, laying down fire, and essentially just making a choke point right in front of her where no one can hit her. And if she's in range of anything, dance her so she can get out of there, or use Lucina and chain guard her ass so she can live. And that's how we got through that map. We convoyed our way up, and then when it was time for Ike, because I also had to use suppressive fire to make sure that other people couldn't come and kill us, and then Ike came and attacked us, or he came and attacked us. It's like, oh, he's attacking Crest. If he hits her twice, she dies. He has a 100% hit rate, and he's gonna double her. Thank God I'm chain guarding. and it came in really clutch. And then after I was like, okay, she is going to die. We have to kill Ike now. So I think one of the first things I did was had her torrential roar, which did no damage to Ike, but it hexed him. And then once the Draconic Hex happened, then everyone just had a good time. Which, that's another mechanic I need to talk about, is, yeah, let's just go ahead and talk about it. So I just talking about some of the specific engages that really helped me out. So clearly Lynn, because of the clones, Lucina for the Bond Shield, Corrin for Dragon Fire, or Dragon Vein, which for me was basically just only fire. Chain attacks, that's a really fun mechanic. That was kind of another thing. It's like, this is a good way to take out, like, a tanky enemy. Draconic Hex is such a fucking good ability. Some of the things you get from Corrin, which is you initiate combat, all the enemy stats go down by 4. And I believe it's every turn after that, their stats go up again by 1. So they're not permanently debuffed, but they'll be debuffed for a while. So at some point, I don't know when I actually did this, Lynn was on Marin, for the majority of the run when I had her. And at some point I realized, I haven't had Marin inherit any skills. She has enough points for Draconic Hex. I'm gonna give her Draconic Hex. So something I would frequently do when it was time to fight a boss, especially on Emblem maps, was, alright, Astra Storm the boss. They're now Draconic Hexed. Jean had Byleth, so I was like, you're gonna Goddess Dance, make sure Marin is part of that. Okay, now Marin, go and, like, help clean shit up. And it worked really, really well. Ike's Great Ether, which I had Ike on Penny, it's really good, but it's really situational. You tank a lot of damage, and then you give a lot of damage back. But depending on... It really comes down to, like, how many enemies are really in the area, and on top of that, how many of them can hit other shit? Because if they can hit other shit, they're just not gonna hit Penny. If Great Ether forced aggro, I think it would have been a far more useful ability. Like, it's something that's really good for both offense and defense, but my particular style of playing was I tried to be a lot more defensive. That's probably also why maps took so long. But regardless, it's like, I would have preferred that, but it is what it is. Roy's I barely use. It's like, I have Dragonfire that I don't need to use. I don't have to attack someone and get right up in their grill to use it. So you're kind of ass. Byleth, I didn't use the Instruct a whole lot, mostly because, well, if Byleth is on Jean, and Jean is a mage, Byleth gives him more range for his magic, so he can just start sniping shit. That's a little more valuable to me right now. Or would dance. So something I would frequently do is, like, have Seedall dance somebody, make sure he was in a spot where Jean could get to him. Jean would goddess dance, Seedall would be part of the goddess dance, then he could re-dance someone else. Or he would just... No, sorry, it was he'd be part of the goddess dance, then he... Sorry, I feel like there was a time, at least once, where Seedall somehow got, like, 3 turns. But I don't think that could have happened. But I would at least try to make sure that he could go twice. Like, he could get another dance off and either dance Jean so we could blow... I think it was Jean would usually go, like, multiple times. Because I would have him go, like, hit something, get danced, goddess dance everybody, Seedall would dance Jean again, and then Jean would go a 3rd time. That's what I'm thinking of. That's why Seedall in 3, not because he would go thrice. That makes way more sense. Goddess dance was fucking invaluable. Micaiah and Hortensia. I got Hortensia and did not use her. Like, I've got a lot of people in my army. Quite a few of these maps are like, you can't bring, because like a lot of the paralogs are like, you can't bring a full party to this. You can only bring 8 people, 9 people, 11, not a full 12. Get fucked. I was like, I'm already kind of having trouble bringing everyone. I don't think I'm gonna bring you, dude. Then around chapter 20, so like on because Tamara was kind of my number 12. I was like, she's not bad, but she's not really that good. Like, is she especially strong? No. Is she especially fast? No. Is she that tanky? No. She doesn't have a specific role. Because even someone, like, for example, Gold Mary. Gold Mary was not very strong. She was not very fast. She was not super accurate. I mean, if she was using her silver sword, then sure, but it wasn't doing a lot of damage. But she had a very specific role, because I gave her dual assist, and she was a hero. So what that did, as a hero, the class skill is, if you're at full health, when you chain attack, you chain attack twice. Dual assist just essentially means it gives you more range for chain attacking people. So she had a very specific role of just constantly chain attacking and doing damage. Like, you are a really important member of the party. You have a job. Which is why I don't have you initiate a lot of combat, which is why you're not getting a lot of experience, which is why you're not really doing a lot of damage. It all makes sense, but she still contributed. Tamara just kind of didn't. I remember 18 on the ship, I started to notice, I was like, you're just not doing a lot. Lynn's Paralog was a map where just kind of with where she was, she just wasn't doing anything. Like, several turns, she did nothing. And chapter 19, which is the Miasma in the City, which, fuck that map, by the way. She did, like, nothing. I honestly don't think she hit anything. Because I had her stay behind to take care of the cannon, because other people had shit to do. And then by the time the cannon was out of ammo, and it was time for, like, shit to happen, she was too far away, and she couldn't get up and do anything. I was like, you're just... sorry. So I says to myself then, it's like, if she's just a warm body, I might as well swap her out with someone, so let's try Hortensia. Because, wow, her upgraded class's skill of you might not use a charge on a stave is really, really good. Because I have to do a lot of healing. Maybe I should use Hortensia. So I upgraded her, and immediately she had overall better stats than Tamara. Like, oh, Tamara, I'm sorry, but why have I been investing in you? So I start using Hortensia, and, so chapter 20 was the first map I used her on. I was like, okay, she's not bad, she's not doing a whole lot, but, you know, she's just now joined the group. Like, I have other people that can also heal. Ivy can heal, Kagetsu can heal. As he wasn't doing a lot of work for me as a sword dancer, so I turned him into a Griffin Knight, so at least he would have overall better stats, and he could just do a little bit extra healing. He kind of fell off for me, unfortunately. But Jean can do a lot of healing. Pandreo can do a lot of healing. I have an extra healer now, which is always nice, and like, you can maybe offer some utility now with Micaiah as well. Then, yeah, it was like chapter 20 was kind of whatever. Then chapter 21 happened. And I had this, I have a video of my successful attempt. And as I say in the video, or I don't actually say anything, it was all recorded on the Switch. as I said in the description, it was a 2-hour attempt that ended in failure. Because I could not get people, I could not actually march my army up to Vale. I could not entrap Vale the way I wanted to. Which I had done in a couple other paralogs. Like, I remember doing it to Erica. Oh, dude, Erica's map was so fucking fun. It was like, I was able to do it to Erica. I was able to do it to Leaf eventually. It's like, this is how we're going to get to Vale. Come here. Why can't I use this on her? She has a skill that makes it so she can't be moved. I can't entrap her. And I can't aggro her because anyone that does, aside from Penny, is going to get killed. But if I have Penny do it, or anyone else, like, anyone else will just die, but if she does it, she gets entrapped by these assholes, where then she gets attacked by dragons, and then she dies. I can't do this. So then I went and had some food, had some Italian, I thought about it, and I realized, hold on a second, Micaiah makes her staves AoE, because I noticed it earlier when I was, like, healing someone. I think it was healing Louis. Everyone around him in, like, a certain radius got healed. Can I AoE warp? Or rewarp? Can I do that? So then, I booted the game back up, fucked with her inventory a bit, and, like, kind of tried it. It wasn't even, like, a real attempt. It was just like, alright, like, can I actually fuck with some of this shit? Oh, I can! If I... Hold on a second. If I AoE warp, like, my A-team, so I get Seed all in there for dancing, I get Jean for Goddess dancing, I have Penny for God's work, and then I have Marin also for God's work. Can I get to Vale in one turn? I can. Can we just kill her right now? I can. Yes. It took 2 hours. And I did it in like 3 minutes. Fuck yeah! This is efficiency! This is amazing! This is just, it is that sense of discovery. Taking the game's mechanics, just here's all the shit it gives you. How do you want to approach this? What works for you? It's like, I honestly kind of thought, I was like, I'm so glad I failed that earlier attempt because now I know what to fucking do. So later when I did change the game to hard for later maps, I did not attempt 24 or 25 on Maddening, but 24 only took me a couple turns, and part of that was just like, yeah, I had a few turns just kind of fucking around doing some setup-y shit, but I was able to kill, like, as soon as I wanted to kill Pastelier, she was fucking dead. Because, yeah, teleport, dance, do it again, or like, I think, yeah, then like it was a combination of that and trapping her to get her just close enough, and then Penny and Marin going to work because they're unstoppable goddesses. We had, Chapter 25, also I was able to do in one turn because of this report bullshit. That one took a couple attempts of just, like, I remember having to use a lot of crystals to make sure I could actually get the positioning right. And also, it was like my first attempt, I was like, alright, we're all here, let's go. Panette's missing. Panette is missing with every fucking weapon she has. Oh, I don't know if I can do this. Well, what if I do this? What if I start like... Oh, okay, we got it to work. Which, that one I didn't record. But I only did it for 21, because, like, this one's actually on Maddening. I feel more proud of, like, this is where I figured it out. I feel proud of this one. This one, I still feel proud of it. If it was still on Maddening, I'd feel a lot better about it. But, like, it's, because I remember Clay doing it. It's like, this map just looks like ass. Infinite reinforcements, all this bullshit going on here in this murder hole. I just don't want to deal with it. Do I have to? I don't. Got it. And the final map is fine. I don't really like it. It's... Gosh, like, I remember Echoes. And the... I fucking love the final map of that. I hate it. Fuck Jeddah. Fuck Duma. But God, the music is so good. Like, it was so hyped doing it. And then the final map of Awakening where... So the way I played Awakening was I got to a point where I realized I'm bringing a lot of units that don't help. All they do is die, and I keep resetting the game because someone died. Why don't I just bring my good units and see if we can handle it? So I brought Robin, her husband Crom, their daughter Lucina, and their son Morgan. I paired each of them with a flying unit to give them movement and was like, all right, just spread out and kill shit. And it worked. I don't remember at what point I started doing it, but it went from this game is a nightmare to, oh, I just don't bring the squishies and yeah, we fucking win. So the final map was the same shit. I was like, all right, we got the family together. Go. And it was really fun. I enjoyed it a lot. And then the 3 houses maps, I remember, I haven't done Silver Snow. Blue Lions was, it kind of took me a while to figure out what I needed to do, but it wasn't too bad. Black Eagles was a lot of fun. And I really like the Golden Deer map. Mostly, like, it's not super hard. It's actually a really simple map. Excuse me, but I do like the premise of, like, alright, you gotta fight all these guys with super weapons. While God Shattering Star is playing. And, gosh, God Shattering Star is such a good song. A lot of the final map music fucking slaps out. I'm thinking about it. But regardless, what I loved about the game was finding a lot of these mechanics, discovering some of it's kind of bullshit, like the rewarping, but I'm like, I needed this to get through. And I think that's what it was. If I had just played the game on hard the entire way through, I would have had fun. I would have enjoyed a lot of the strategy. But that's kind of would have been it. It's like, yeah, I'm just like, it's like just playing a game of chess without really delving into, I'm playing someone who's great at chess, so I need to use everything at my disposal. Because I remember Clay even said, he's like, yeah, like, I never had to use, like, chain guarding. Like, Lynn's clones, that's, like, fine. Like, I used them, but I see the way you had to rely on that shit. Like, how you would have to, like, use all this kind of bullshit. And then when I went back down to hard, I was like, wait, we're just, like, looking at enemies and they die. This is a completely different game now. I mean, after fucking 70 hours, I kind of needed this. Thank you, but... on the one hand, like, there's this part of me that feels that I cheated myself by not finishing Maddening. There's another part of me that's like, you got as far as you wanted. You did the thing you really wanted to do. You're good. And then there's that other part of me that's like, it's not just that, like, you cheated yourself because you didn't finish it. You saw, like, how much easier the game was. And while you still had fun with it, it really did feel like a different game, which is why at some point I really do want to finish the game on Maddening. I do want to get the DLC so I can just, I don't really know how much I want to use the DLC emblems. Like, I don't know if they're, like, super busted or anything, but I do want to do the extra maps because fuck, the game is fun. Which is a good transition into what are some of my favorite maps. Chapter 10, when you are in the Elusia Cathedral. So at the start, you've got the Magic Ballista, and then you've got 3 bosses. You've got Rosado over here, you got Goldmary over here, you got Hortensia in the middle doing all of her bullshit. That part is super fun. Hortensia was kind of a nightmare. It was really hard getting through her without her killing anybody. Then when you open the doors of the cathedral, there's a Big Daddy Brodia, which I don't remember if he had an emblem ring on him. I genuinely don't. I think Hortensia did. I don't know who it was, because Hyacinth had... Every time I hear the name King Hyacinth, I laugh. Because to me, every time I hear Hyacinth, I think of Keeping Up Appearances, which is one of my favorite shows of all time. And it's something I grew up watching and laughing my ass off to. So, King Hyacinth, I just think of Hyacinth. It's fucking great. It's magical. Anyways, point. Like, had to bring that up. He had Lynn. I think Hortensia was using Lucina? Might be misremembering that, but like dealing with Big Daddy Brodia was a pain, but it was fun. And then dealing with Hyacinth was a pain, but it was really fun. Like, it was such a fucking fun experience. Like, this is amazing. This is hard. This is challenging. I have to do so much bullshit, but I'm getting through it, and it's giving, like, it's throwing everything it has at me, and I'm taking haymakers, but I'm throwing uppercuts, man. Like, I fucking love this shit. And then there's chapter fucking 11, which took me, like, so many attempts. I kept losing people. Like, I don't know what to do. Like, I can barely make any progress down the maps. I have to deal with this shit. And as soon as I deal with it, there's more shit to deal with. And Lear sucks. So this is when two really fucking important things happened. One, I lost half my ding-dang army. And two, I realized that Alear is a problem and a liability, because when she was with Marth, she was fine. She would do like 3 attacks. She could do decent damage. She was a dodge tank. Without him, without any emblem, it's like, you don't do like any damage. You are slow as hell, so you are getting doubled, and you are not tanky. If something looks at you, you're lucky if you survive with a few hit points. What the fuck? So, I switched her from a Dragon Child into a Griffin Knight, or like a Pegasus Knight. The overall stats were better. It's like, this will give her more movement. Hopefully we can get through the map easier. And because this it's an escape map, maybe that's what I need. Oh boy, that's not really working, is it? We got through it. Didn't really work super well. And then on the next map, she didn't do terrible. She wasn't really doing work. And then the next map, which is that Fog of War map with the twin brigands. The Brig Twins, the Twiggins. I kind of like Twiggins. The map with the Twiggins. If one of those Wyvern Knights looked at her, she died. She was getting doubled, taking way too much damage. So we switched her to an armored unit. And it didn't really fix the problem. And that was kind of when I realized, as Clay pointed out to me, it's like, you have irrevocably fucked this character. You probably should have just upgraded her to a Divine Dragon when you had a chance. I was like, yeah, but it's not even that good. Like, her stats are a little bit better, but she has a sword and she punches. Like, I don't really like using the fist. And I'll be honest, like, it was just not something I really fucked with a whole lot, was just that particular weapon type. But it's like, why can't she have, like, arrows or magic? Like, I would love it if she could use some sort of ranged weapon. This is it. I miss Curtis. I miss Robin. Where are my good Avatar units? Where are they? But, oh man, it's like, she's bad. And I remembered when I got to the point where I was like, okay, I'm going to turn you back into a Dragon Child, and we're going to level you up to be a Divine Dragon. It's like, I need you in this role, Crust, for Corrin's Fire, because you were, like, the only, like, you can do all the other shit with it. The fire is the most important, and they kind of have their own emblem rings with, like, shit that they need to do. This is your one job. I will force feed you experience where you can get it. You are so weak that enemies have to be at, like, 4 hit points for you to kill them reliably. And even then, it's not always reliable. But we're gonna do this, okay? So whenever I would have her go to kill an enemy, I would just say out loud, "Aim the Divine Drake." Like she's the fucking Matt Damon puppet from Team America. It's like, that's right, Crust. You are the Divine Dragon. I'm the Divine Drake. Or as Clay would say, like, I'm the Dingadurg. And to me, that will never not be funny. Just, I'm the Divine Dragon. And then, when she actually started to get better and actually kick some ass on her own, I know I said I was going to talk about all the best maps, but I'm going to get back to that, I promise. Like, now I'm just on my Alear rant. But when she was actually getting better and could take care of herself, then it was unironic. It was, I am the divine dragon. Like, I'm about to fuck your shit up. And I was getting into that. And then when I did put the game back on hard, with her with Marth, yeah, now things would have... I remember at one point an enemy had like a 3% chance to hit her. There was several times when an enemy would just have 0. I remember a time in the arena where she went up against Vander. He had 0 damage, a 0% chance to hit, but a 9% chance to crit. It's like... How? No, like, the game, literally, how? How does he have a 9% chance to do a critical hit when he has a 0% chance to fucking hit her? What? But yeah, I was like, was she still doing a lot of damage? No, but she was getting faster. Like, she was dodging shit. I was like, good job, Crest. And I made sure that she got the final hit on Sombron. And yeah, that was, I am the divine dragon. Get fucked. No Dingadurgan, no ironic bullshit. And it's kind of one of the reasons I do really like her character, is from the gameplay perspective of her journey. Of, like, being really strong with Marth, we're kicking ass, I'm leading my army. We got completely gutted in Chapter 11. Wasn't really sure what to do with herself. I ding-dang sure wasn't sure what to do with her. But then she figured out her role, got her shit together, and was able to lead and defend her army. And it took a while for her to actually become a force, but she kind of got there, and then she fucked up the final boss. I mean, Panette fucked up the final boss. Let's be honest with ourselves for a second. She took out like 3 of his 4 health bars single-handedly. But I am the divine dragon. I do appreciate that. But so getting back to the good maps, Chapter 10. Honestly, a lot of the Illusia maps, like the... Actually, no, that was a Brodia map. Was Hortensia on the Bridge was a map I really liked. I think that's Chapter 10, Chapter 9, Chapter 8. I think it's Chapter 7. I really like Chapter 10. I fucking hate Chapter 11, but because of that, I really love Chapter 11. 14... I guess I have to shout out the Twiggins map, because it's what introduced Panette and Marin, who became 2 of my best units. I gotta give it a shout out. I really love Chapter, okay, and then Chapter 14 was Solm Palace. That was a blast. I had such a, like, I remember doing it and going like, this is really fun. This is good. That is a fucking murder hole. I have to fight 4 bosses? With, like, I don't know how we're gonna do this. And then through a combination of the clones, and chain guarding, and Marnie being ass, we fucking rolled. It was so fun and so satisfying to do that map. What was 15? Because I remember 16 was the Tides, and it was a shit show. I'm genuinely blanking on what 15 was, because that wasn't the Fog. It was 11 is that one. 12 is Solm, and it's around the enemy, and it's super easy, barely an inconvenience. 13 is the Twiggins. 14 is Solm. Oh, that's right. 16 is Corrin and Seedall. Oh, that one's ass. That's the really long miasma map. That's another map I had to redo, like, right near the end, because those fucking dudes with the axes. Oh, it was so awful. But then you get 17. The map I most wanted to play. The, like, crown jewel of the game. A map that several people said, like, this is probably the hardest map in the game. This is the most fun map in the game. Like, you remember Chapter 10 and how this is, it's throwing haymakers, you're throwing uppercuts? That's what this is. There's no bullshit gimmicks like Fog of War or the Tide or constant reinforcements. This is everything on the map. There's 6 bosses, 2 dragons. All 6 bosses have emblem rings. Beat every single one of them. Go. Yeah, it's the best map in the game. It's really, really fun. It's really intense. Boy, Dragonfire was like fucking imperative. Boy, Marin clones were absolutely needed. Boy, Penny's... So Panette had a killer axe that was like a +2 or +3, and it had Lynn's engraving on it. So when she looked at things, they very often died. She was a nightmare, man. But, oh gosh, so the way that map is set up, I know I described it in a Card Talk video, is if you play the game, you know what I'm talking about. Zephyia, Vale, and Hyacinth are on top. Gris is in the upper right-hand corner. It's like left or right? Right-hand corner with a couple of Droogs. There's a dragon, like, right above you. There's a dragon right above you. Marnie and some Droogs to the left. Above Marnie is Mavir, and then across from him is another dragon, right, like, a bit below Zephyia and pretty close to the other one. So looking at it, I'm like, okay, so what I need to do is kill Gris, kill that dragon, fight Marnie, then Mavir you will get aggro, take care of him, take care of the dragon, Vale and Hyacinth come down, take care of that, take care of Zephyia. Any questions? No. Good. What actually happened was, okay, took out Gris, banger, took out the first dragon, banger. I really want to take out the second dragon, because I don't want to deal with Mavir and Marnie and then have this shit coming at me. So let's aggro this dragon. By aggroing that dragon and some of the random Droogs in the area, not Marnie's or Mavir's, it aggroed Zephyia. And then because she was aggroed, Vale and Hyacinth were also aggroed. So a lot of shit was coming at me at once. So I was able to kill the dragon and Zephyia, I believe, in one turn. Because I know Zephyia didn't hurt anybody. Like, even with all her movement, she was not able to get in anyone's range. Took care of that shit. Then there was the turn from hell with Vale and Hyacinth and Corrin Fire. Because there was a lot of fucking dudes to deal with. Like, I used like 8 charges to get away where no one died during that turn. But we finally fucking got it. It was like, we're like out of shit now. Let's go. But we killed Hyacinth, took care of the Droogs, Corrin Fire on Vale so she couldn't do anything, dogpiled Vale, moved to the left, aggroed Mavir, which then meant Marnie was coming, but we used Corrin Fire is so fucking important, man. Took care of Mavir and his Droogs, and then went down and just clowned Marnie. It was so fun. It was so exhausting, and I loved every second of it. I kind of wish I made a separate save just for that file so I could redo it, because that is no question my favorite map in the game. 18 on the ship, it's fine. 19, the Miasma in the city, fucking ass. I hated it. 20 was the Gris Fog of War, which I just hate Fog of War, so I didn't have a good time. 21 was a really important map because it made me realize Hortensia and Rewarp. That was great. 22 was really fun. It's hard as shit because I'm like, oh, I don't have any of my emblems. I don't have Corrin Fire anymore. I don't have Lynn clones anymore. We don't have some of our emblem abilities that we haven't inherited, like Marin's Alacrity, because she has no need to inherit the Alacrity from Lynn, because she always has Lynn. It was so hard and so rough, and it made it so fucking fun and so satisfying to get through it without losing anybody. But I really thought I was going to lose Louie at the end, but I fucking didn't. 23 was ass. And then I redid it on hard, and it was just kind of a cakewalk. 24 with Past Crest, we made that kind of a joke. 25, we did it in one turn. 26 is fine. The Paralogs. Allier's is ass. It is the only one I did not do on Maddening because it is ass. Marth's, it's fine. It was, yeah, we used the fire to make a choke point, killed some dudes, started getting into position. All right, Hortensia, do your thing. Rework the squad, killed Marth. Celica's is fucking funny, because you can aggro her really fast. Like, if you have a unit with really high resistance, or like flying it in like I tried it with Hortensia first, but she didn't have enough health to survive. It's like, oh, let me try that again with Ivy. Bang. Now Celica's aggroed, so now all the shit is coming to the ship. Celica's coming to the ship, and it took just a couple turns to take care of everything, let Celica approach and destroy her, but it was not hard. It was like 4 turns, which on the one hand, I'm like, I wonder how, because like I had a lot of fun doing that, don't get me wrong. I was like, I wonder how much, if it would have been more or less fun kind of doing the map as intended. It also meant I just really didn't get to hear the music for that long, which is sad because I love Echo's music. Next is Sigurd. Sigurd's is pretty fun. I don't think it's great, but Marin was my mage killer, so Marin just fucking feasted that entire map. And then, yeah, when Sigurd gets too aggro, it's pretty funny. Leaf. This is one of my favorite paralog maps. It's rough. It's rough as shit. It was like, yeah, I have to Hortensia rewarp the like A-team down here. Marin make clones for the ballista to kill. Seedall dance Hortensia so she could get the hell out of here and not explode. Kill this shit. Okay. But as we're dealing with this, we've got like three cavalry units every turn. Just bang, bang, bang. Not infinite. Eventually they stop. It's like bang, 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 bang. Eventually, now that the ballistas are gone, now we can start moving the army down. We gotta cross this bridge. There's a lot of fucking dudes coming. But I have Corin fire. I can make my own choke points and just slowly, methodically make our way through and just take care of shit. Take care of these ballistas. Okay, Leaf and his dudes are coming. Can we aggro him? Not really. We can get him kind of close. Okay, a trap might not work. It worked. Guys, go to town, and we fucking did. Fantastic. Who's after Leaf? That would be, I think that's the GBA games. So that would be Roy, it's fine. It took me, like, I tried it on one attempt, and it just didn't work out. And I tried another attempt where we were more equipped to deal with flyers, and it was no problem. That was, shout out to Penguins of Madagascar. That's what I watched when I did Roy's map. After Roy was Lynn. Lynn's, I think, aside from Alir, is probably the hardest paralog, because there's just so much shit to deal with and so many enemies. It's not a huge, it is kind of a huge problem. It was just, I didn't have a lot of fun with that map, I'm going to be honest. After Lynn, I think that's the 3rd GBA game, which is Erica, so 17 is my favorite main story map. Erica is my favorite paralog. It was just fun, man. There was a lot of shit, but not like with Lynn's where like there's so many enemies and then there's more. It's like, here's what you got to deal with. Go. Oh, okay, there's some reinforcements, but they're very easy to take care of. Like the one dragon in like the left side, I didn't even fuck with. I didn't have to. And then Erica herself was pretty fun to fight because I just entrapped her. It was like, yeah, I was like, there's a lot of dudes here. Now there's only one. After that, Lucina. No, sorry. Next is Ike. Ike was a lot of fun. Micaiah's was a problem. Like, that took me a couple attempts to just figure out what am I supposed to do? How do I handle this? But once again, Hortensia just bosses and Trappist. Boop. All right, guys. She's really frail. Dog pile. After Micaiah was Lucina, which is it's a really straightforward map, which I really liked. Like, yeah, here's the enemies. There's not a whole lot. They're pretty strong, but you can take them on pretty easily. Now go kill Lucina. All right, very simple shit. I liked it for that. After Lucina, I think, is Corin, which is, there's kind of not much to write home about. I thought it was fine. Byleth had a really interesting gimmick of very few enemies are really going to aggro to you immediately. They're just going to go for the gems. My first attempt, I basically ignored the enemies. Like, go destroy shit. I'm going to make my way to Curtis. And eventually they ran out of gems, so everything started targeting me, and then we exploded. So second attempt is like, okay. They won't aggro to you. Use that to your advantage. Take care of the enemies, you know, like, especially use, like, your mages, your archers and shit. Attack them from a range where they can't counter, or if they have, like, spears and shit, like, all right, you know, you do what you gotta do. But remember, they won't go for you later. And then we got to the point where I'm like, okay, now we're doing... I don't know if it's actually infinite reinforcements or if it's just a lot. But they never ended in mind. But it's like, all right, we're getting like these infinite flyers. We got to go after Curtis. All right, this is his range. Penny, go. Great Ether. We're in his range. He's going to attack you. You're going to live. And then we're going to kick his ass. What do you mean he's not attacking? What do you mean he's just running away? So then, for the last like 3 or 4 turns was just chasing Byleth down like the right-hand corner of the map while he was not aggroed. And it was really fucking weird and really funny. But we got through it, and it was really fun. Like, its gimmick made it a really memorable map in the best possible way, so... Fuck, I really like this game. I really liked playing this game. There are so many great maps. There's so many fun mechanics to explore. Do I really have anything else to say about the gameplay? No, I mean, that's really it. I guess just my top favorite units, which I've kind of already alluded to. Penny, Pandreo, Jean. I can't really say Alir, but her Dragonfire was really good. And then later, I was able to put Corrin on Veil for the Dragonfire. And then, you know, Marth on Crust, so that helped. Excuse me. I feel something in my throat, shit. Yunaka didn't really do much for me, unfortunately. Like, she was fine in the first few maps. She fell off early. Same with Kagetsu. So, Kagetsu stayed in the army. Yunaka got benched. Alcrest ended up getting benched. Fogato was able to do some work, but then he kind of fell off. And then when we switched to hard, he fell back on. Hortensia was an absolute unit. Ivy was really solid. I don't think I said Marin. But, yeah, Marin was a fucking goddess. When Celine and Chloe were alive, they did a lot of work, too. Chloe actually had, like, quite a few MVPs. And I think she was actually the MVP of map 10, too. And just, like, seeing that made me so sad, like, at the end credits. Penny had... I didn't actually tally them all up. I made a video just, like, recording them all. Penny was the most. Marin had quite a few. Chloe had a few. And, yeah, it's... Hortensia never got one, but if I'm being honest, I feel like some of Penny's you could argue. It's like she got the most kills, so she's the MVP. Hortensia was the MVP of a lot of those late maps. Like, her ability to do shit was necessary, but at the same time, she can't do her thing without Seedall dancing her. We can't kill the boss in one turn without Jean Goddess dancing. We need Marin to Astrostorm, because not only is it free damage, I gave her Dragonic Hex, so we can kill the thing easier. It's like, here's the A-team. Loved them. And, oh god, we're an hour and 12 minutes in, and I haven't even talked about the narrative. So, it's time to talk about the narrative. So, generally speaking, I think it's fine. It's, yeah, there's a big bad evil dragon who has a zombie army and is trying to get all the magical emblems so he can use their power to take over the world or whatever the fuck. Pretty simple shit. The things that really stick out to me is, like, these are the moments that are great. When it focuses on Veil and the split personality, I think is really, really interesting. And again, I think a lot of that is helped by the voice acting. Also, when you're kind of just dealing with Crest's growth throughout the game. Like, at first, just wake up, don't really know what the fuck is going on, but people are counting on me, there's a fell dragon, I guess I gotta go lead an army now. And it's okay, but you know, you're kicking a lot of ass, you're getting these rings, you're starting to feel good, and then that leads to chapter 10, where Marth's like, okay, Crest, come here for a second. This is what we in the business call a fucking trap. And, this is what we would call in the business a fucking stupid idea if you ignore the obvious warnings of the trap and go into it. She's like, come on, Marth, like, I know it's a trap. We gotta go save King Big Daddy Brodia. I promised his sons. We've got you. We've got 5 other emblems. I think at that point you have 6. That's, I don't really want to count them. But I'm pretty sure at that point you have 6. Like, we're good. We can take care of this. Like, we got this. And then you don't, because chapter 11 happens right after. And that's when I started to really notice just how tired she sounded in her delivery. I think one of my favorite examples is after chapter 16, where you encounter Vale, or maybe it's 15 and then 16 is the other one, but it's regardless. It's the Seedall Corn Miasma chapter. Encounter Vale. She's nice, Vale, so she doesn't know what the hell is going on. She's like, hey guys, what's up? Yes, that is 15, because 16 is the, because I remember having Corrin for chapter 16, which is the Tide chapter. Sorry, got distracted. Anyways, point. Vale meets them, or meets, yeah, Crest and whoever was there. It's like, hi, haven't seen you in a while. How's it going? And Crest is just not dealing with her shit. And again, it's not like the, I'm tired of your shit, super sassy, but just the, what are you doing? Just stop. Yeah, but I'm just, stop. I'm getting really sick of your shit. Go. This is the shit you've done. You're a terrible person. Leave. And then I think it's Alfred who's like, I mean, should we have just let her go? She's an enemy. She's one of their big, you know, bad guys. Should we really just do that? It's fine. It's probably a trap anyways. Which is something I really appreciated, how it's like, yeah, the last time there was an obvious trap, she fell into it thinking like, yeah, I'm fine. But she's like, I don't know. This could be a trap. I'm not making the same mistake again. And then when Alear realizes that there's two versions of Vale, there's one you can maybe save her and help her out. Again, like, I actually like that. And then they realize that they're sisters. Like, you're the person I've been looking for all this time. It's like, now I feel this, that I being Crust, have this sense of, I feel like now, like, I am a protective older sibling. I can't speak. Let me try this again. I feel like you're old. I feel like I got worse. Might be. I would say let me get a drink of water, but I don't have a thing of water nearby. I really don't want to get up because this video is going on for way too long, but I kind of expected it would be really long, and by going on this monologue now, then making the video even longer. And now I kind of want to keep going just for shits and giggles, but let's not do that. It makes their bond more interesting. Let's just say it like that. I think that's the best way of saying it. When you go to the past in chapter 24 and you meet past Alear, again, one of those moments where I think the voice acting really works. She sounds so hollow, so dead inside, of just, you have my face. I don't know why, but you might be an enemy. I sense your ring. Give me your ring. I have to give it to Father. If he doesn't, if I don't, if I fail, he'll call me a defect, and he'll dispose of me. I don't want to be disposed of. I've had so many other siblings. I've seen them get fed to the corrupted. I don't want to be fed to the corrupted. I don't want to be a defect. Defect, defect, defect. That is my favorite moment in the game. Just like terms of pure story-wise, character-wise, it is that conversation between past Alear and Lumera, just defect, defect, defect. I remember watching Clay play that, and like getting to that moment, I was like, people don't like the story? This is really engaging. Take a shot. I'm actually surprised I haven't said that phrase before in this video yet. It only took an hour and 18 minutes, holy shit. But it's like, this is really engaging. This is actually interesting shit. Playing the whole thing, yeah, there's a lot of parts that don't work. I don't like how sympathetic the game tries to make the Four Hounds when you start getting to their ends. Marnie's like, yeah, this is my sad story, and it's not the saddest, but it's kind of sad. I'm like, yeah, I remember. You've killed a lot of people, by the way, and you've seemed pretty fucking gung-ho about it. Why should I feel sorry for you? Or Gris and Zephyr. Zephyr's like, I just wanted a family of my own. And, you know, I have to discipline my children when they're naughty. Like, you're just kind of a piece of shit. They're like, why are you helping us instead of Sombron? You know, I mean, because fuck them, that's why. Sure, I totally buy this. I think what really pissed me off was watching those cutscenes after what happened in those last couple turns. Is like, you're the reason Jean died. You didn't kill him specifically, but, like, you're the reason Jean died. Fuck you. I feel no sympathy for you. I feel no sympathy for you. No sympathy for you. Fuck all 4 of you. Mavi, I mean, you're a party member now, but I haven't forgotten Chapter 19, you warping son of a bitch! It didn't... I feel like it's one of those, like, yes, you can make a character sympathetic. You can give them a backstory that maybe kind of alleviates some of their guilt at times. But I feel like, no, at this point, the Hounds have just been unrepentant pieces of shit. And they've kind of all reveled in it. Now, you can still love them for that. Like, that's something different. It's like, you can enjoy them for being the villains. And you're like, yeah, I wish I could play as this character because they have cool shit that they can do. But I don't like it when you make someone really horrible. Oh, but look. To me, the governor from The Walking Dead is always the example I use. Specifically from the comics. Because in the show, they make him seem like a normal person. Then they start to show how fucking crazy he is. And then they don't try to win your sympathy back. In the comics, he's a fucking piece of shit. Then they try to earn my sympathy. Like, no, 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 no. Fuck this guy. He deserves everything that's about to come to him. You can't make it like his introduction is cutting off the main character's hand. And then I don't think it's long after that where he rapes Michonne. Like, no, 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 no. I don't care that his little girl is now a zombie and he feels bad. Fuck him. This game, to me, tries to do similar shit. Although I will say it kind of works with Sombron, because for me, I don't feel like Sombron's backstory makes him sympathetic. It is just like, no, this is why I'm doing what I'm doing. And it's like, it kind of made it more interesting to me. I love how how literally the ending conversation is essentially, hey, my daughters are here. Cool, bye. He's like, I'm just gonna dip. I was here for something very specific that I can't accomplish here. I'm going to go to other worlds. We're not going to let you conquer other worlds, Dad! I ain't trying to conquer shit. I'm trying to find an old friend of mine. And I don't know where he is. And I've been stuck in your world for a really long time, and I needed the power of your emblems to open the portal so I could get out of here, so I could go look for him somewhere else. Oh. Well, I don't really believe you. Also, you're a piece of shit, so fuck you. Are you sure you want to do this? I'm literally going to leave. You will never see me again. You will never even enter my consciousness. I don't care. Well, we care. All right, fine. I kind of enjoyed that. I also love the bad ending, because I didn't get it on my playthrough, but I've seen it, where if you get the bad ending in Sombron, you get this cutscene where he tells Alear, all your friends and family are dead. Vale is now back to being evil Vale, and Crest is her emblem ring. Like, oh, that's fucking cool. Like, that's so fucked up. I love it. Do I really have anything else to say? Defect. Oh, like, Alear and Vale. Oh, I guess the other thing is when it comes to the other characters, like your other just units, some of them I think are just kind of fine. Like when you do their supports, like for example, Louis. Louis' supports are fine. Like him and Ivy, like it's sweet. Him and Pandreo is pretty fun. For the most part, I don't think he's super interesting. And then you get someone like Fogato, where in his supports with Pandreo and Crest, you realize that his, you know, super chill, happy-go-lucky, vibe prince personality, a lot of that is a facade, and he knows that I am a prince, I have a duty to uphold, and I have a persona to uphold. And part of that duty is to make people feel good and make them feel safe. But I'm scared. I'm scared that I can't protect people. I'm scared that I'm going to lose people I love in this war. But if people see me, like, working really hard and, like, training, it'll break that image of me. And if they lose that image of me that I'm like, I got it all figured out, they might be worried too. And I can't let that happen. Penny and Pandreo were siblings. Wouldn't know that if I didn't do their supports. And I like how Penny's thing is like, oh dear, I am a noble woman who speaks in a very exaggerated and exquisite manner. And Pandrea's like, sis, stop. If you're gonna talk to me like a normal fucking person. Okay, fine. Why the fuck do you work with mom and dad's church? Like, I love her, like, dual nature. I think it's really entertaining. I like the shit about their family. I think it's super interesting. Pandreo has a great support with Mavir, where Mavir's praying to the Fell Dragon. Pandreo rocks up. He's like, yo, can I pray beside you? No? Well, why not? I mean, I worship the Fell Dragon, you worship the Divine Dragon. Our faiths don't super mix, man. He's like, hey, I mean, we're both praying to a god. We're both praying to dragons. Why split the details? Why split the details? You're a fucking priest. Like, the details to a religion are pretty fucking important here, dude. Oh, okay. What are you praying to the Fell Dragon for, Mavir? I'm praying for peace, that we can get through the war, hopefully unscathed. Well, what do you know? I'm praying to the Divine Dragon for the exact same thing. And if both of us pray together, they'll have to listen to us, right? Huh. Yeah, I never really thought of it that way. I really liked that. I was like, this is actually kind of interesting. And, like, getting some of Yunaka's backstory about, like, being an assassin and shit. That's really cool. Goldmary and Rosado not actually being Hortensia's retainers like I thought they were. Like, no, we're just her friends from the academy. We're just really close and loyal to her, but we never got essentially we never got knighted by the king, and now we never will. We'll never get that chance. And Hortensia doesn't care, but that's kind of important. At least, like, with Goldmary, Rosado's and Hortensia's is more just about, I am a princess. I have to have a certain image. And anything that goes against that image of me being this wonderful, smiling princess like my mother was, I can't have that. And that's interesting shit. Ivy and Hortensia are half-sisters, not full sisters. Oh, I actually didn't give a... I just realized I didn't give a number to the gameplay. It's fucking 5 out of 5. Game is fun as shit. Fuck it. It's 5.5 out of 5. I don't care that the game eventually got to a point where I was like, this is bullshit. I have to put on another difficulty. It's way too much fun. The mechanics are way too much fun. I just remembered that. Anyways, point. They're half-sisters. I didn't know that. And they're like, yeah, I know my mom used to fucking hate your mom for being, like, the king's concubine, and your mom was so fucking cool that eventually my mom couldn't even hate her anymore. Like, there's a lot of shit that is just not in the main story. And if you just do the main story, the characters can feel very one note. And even some of the characters doing their supports can still feel pretty one note. But doing some of, like, quite a few of them made me appreciate some of the extra depth to these characters. Like, I would actually love to see these characters in, like, a show or something. And, like, really see some of them explore, get more time. Like, Fire Emblem is very Game of Thronesy. It is all about war and political conflict and, like, all these different countries coming together and shit. Yeah, I could, like, a full TV show, like, really getting to delve deep into some of these characters, I think could work really, really well. So while the base plot is fine, and the way that most of the characters are portrayed in the plot is fine, there are a lot of really standout moments and some standout characters if you delve a little deeper. Now, the fact that you kind of have to delve a little deep and that's mostly, here's some good moments rather than the overall whole story, I don't feel like I can give the story as a whole, like, a great. Like, to me, I feel like a 3.5 feels fair. It's fine. It doesn't do a whole lot wrong, but there are some things that just don't quite work. Like the whole Crest dying and then coming back just to die again, just to come back. It's pretty weak. Zephyia helping you out because she felt like it, I guess, just doesn't really work for me, but... See, I think 3.5 really kind of sums up my thoughts on the story. So that's a 3.5 for story, 4.5 for presentation. So that's an 8. 8 plus 5 is 13. So I feel like a 13.5 overall for Engaged feels right. It's not perfect. There are some rough elements of the game, but the star is the gameplay. And while there are parts that annoy me, because it's a Fire Emblem game, reinforcements are going to annoy me. It's like when I play chess, there's no reinforcements in chess. And yes, I've seen the video of the Fire Emblem reinforcements in chess. I laugh my ass off. When I play like Trails or like start a Tails fight, there's generally not going to be reinforcements, although that can happen in Trails. But that's where it's like, yeah, a fight gets chained rather than here's what you're dealing with. Psych, now here's what you're dealing with. Like, I get it from a perspective of like, this is war, but I don't love it. I don't love fog maps. I actually kind of fucking hate them. Some individual gimmicks, like the Tide in Chapter 15, in 16. The Miasma, I think it's ass. But they're so, like, I can't take points off because it makes some of these experiences so unique. And then learning, like, okay, this is bullshit. How do I deal with it? What is the best way for me to handle this situation and conquer it? Is so fun and such a great experience. I have to award extra points for it. It all, gameplay-wise, works. And the rest of the package, like I said, a little rough in some areas, but still good shit overall. I would highly recommend giving it a shot. Now, if you are like a story is the most important thing, you probably won't love it. If you are someone who doesn't like scrolling through menus, you're not gonna like it. But if you are someone that really enjoys a lot of customization in your game and your character building, 1000% fucking pick this game up. I think you'd love it a lot.